it's hard to understand the magnitude of that until you realize that anything good is from the Father.
Right.
So if you have a good idea, it's from the Father. If you have a good intention, that intention is from anything good is from the Father, which is a huge amount of stuff. Hello, and welcome to the People with People podcast, where we talk with people about people-y people things. Today I'm joined by Rob and Stanley, who know each other well, and I know them a little bit, but it'll be a fun conversation nonetheless, so happy to have you.
Yeah, man, thanks for having us, bro.
Glad to be here.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy I can get people each week to be able to do this, and also, just so you know, I'll be looking up different topic things if I need to. So, for example, if there's a debate about a word or things like that, I'll look up definitions and stuff like that. And I have before, not on the podcast, but in actual living room conversations, I've gone, let's just look up that word right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perspective is key. You gotta have different perspectives.
Yeah.
Google is the most popular perspective.
So
Google
true.
is a popular perspective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm just like, it's kind of cool to see, you know, somebody at your age kind of be doing this, you know. It's like that mindset that I feel like is needed in our generation.
Yeah.
Even though we're only a few years older than you, it's still cool just to see that you're already reaching out and striving for something that you feel like people love listening to and just, you know, is different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to be able to bring people at least a perspective on things that they may not have access to otherwise. That's what I think is the beautiful part about the internet, is you can have access to a variety of opinions, whether good or bad, but you still have access to other people a lot more than you used to. And other people have access to you too, but it's definitely an improvement overall. There are bad things that happen still, but
Right. Yeah, and it's like, you know, you never know who's going to be listening.
Yeah.
And what the connections you might develop with people, and you know, later in life you never see it. It's just kind of like stepping in faith in a way.
yeah.
You know, we don't know the relationships that we have with people could develop into someday to better our lives, better their lives, better other people's lives, and ultimate goal is just to help each other and like just be you know, those kind of people in life. So
Yeah, it's really fun. I get to play with worship team with Stanley, so it's
Let's get it.
it's always fun to see him. It's fun because we sort of, I don't know if he does this, but I know I'll listen to what he's doing with the bass, and then I'll try to fill in a little bit.
Okay.
Like, you do a lot of runs,
Yeah.
but they're still the chords. They're just like what I like to call segmented chords, where instead of doing all the strings at once to do a chord, you do each note separately, sort of a thing. Which is what you have to do on the violin for most chords, is you have to play every note separately, because you can only play two at a time.
Yeah, I think playing by ear, it's kind of like a lot of people do that. As far as like you listen to what's around you,
Yeah.
and then you're kind of like, okay, I can kind of build off that. And especially as like an instrument like a violin or like a stringed instrument that, I mean, for me, I think not having frets, which is little lines on the guitar or violin, doesn't have it. Like not having that, a lot of that is by ear, like hearing a melody and playing that.
Yeah.
Especially for something like a worship team. So yeah, you definitely need to listen to what's going on around you and be like, oh, what can I do off that or that or that. But yeah, it's cool to play with you, man. It's an honor.
Yeah. The thing about that environment, which is it's completely different, that the worship team environment is very different from like a normal concert environment.
Yeah.
Because on worship team, you know the songs that you're supposed to be playing, unless they changed that day, which doesn't happen often. But for the most part, you know the songs, you know what you're supposed to be playing. But in a concert, especially like a classic music concert, like a Bach orchestra concert, you're taught not to listen to what anyone else is doing and just do what's on the page.
Yeah.
Which is it's fun to play with that, because especially if you're doing like a harmony part, it's fun to do the harmony part because you see how it fits in after you listen to it. But it's a lot of fun to be able to ad-lib a harmony part too.
Yeah.
And be able to get it to actually sound good.
Yeah, I think you grow like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as reading music goes, you can learn as far as like how quick it's called sight reading. So that's how quick you sight read, which is like when you first look at a piece of paper that has music notes on it, you run through it the first time. It's called a sight read. So the skill goes like reading wise, as far as as quick as you can sight read, as many like notes as you can memorize, like what the time of them are or whatever. But like with hearing music playing by ear, it's like there's a lot. I feel like a lot more that goes on behind the scenes that people don't really understand.
Yeah.
But it's a gift. It's a gift from God. So it's not really something that is going on in my head the whole time. It's really just something I use to glorify Him. So I'm not going to boast in it.
It's fun to see the giftings that people have be used, especially when you can tell. Like, for example, people will say things just in conversations and stuff like that, and then they won't remember what they said, but a bunch of people reacted to it. And they'll go, wait, what did I just say? I didn't get it. Which is interesting to see that it's definitely more of a God speaking through you than a you speaking type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but God does a lot of stuff that people don't realize is Him doing things. And it's very cool once you sort of see, so when the Bible says that all good things come from the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is, it's hard to understand the magnitude of that until you realize that anything good is from the Father.
Right.
So if you have a good idea, it's from the Father. If you have a good intention, that intention is from anything good is from the Father, which is a huge amount of stuff. Because then you can see, just knowing that simple definition, is then you can see how God is doing things that you didn't before. You can see even an atheist person doing some good things, and you can see God just using them anyways, even though they don't believe God is.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see it, and it's still cool to see God doing things just like He did in the Old Testament with people, and people not even realizing that He's pushing people in different directions.
Right. And everybody's an image bearer of God. And so even if you do not believe that a God exists, even if you are part of some other religion, God allows for you to experience good, to experience His creation, to experience love and everything that He created. That's just out of His grace and mercy. Those are things that it's just, life is so fascinating.
Yeah.
We get to live on this planet for however long, probably around 70 to 80 years, if your life doesn't end shorter than that. And we get to discover, in my perspective, who God is, why He created us, and then to truly understand love, because love is the most powerful force in the entire universe. And to truly understand love, we have to look at who created love. Who is love. And that is Jesus dying on the cross for us. Right? That is the ultimate love, the self-sacrifice. Yeah. Right? Love isn't this extraordinary feeling in the moment and, just so like exotic, you know what I mean? You get what I mean? But it's just this self-sacrificial, I want to serve you and, deny who I am because I put you in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob's so spiritual. I think I'm gonna start saying. Instead of good, I'm gonna say from the Father.
From the Father. Hey,
Man, this pizza is so from the Father, man.
Hey, yeah, dude.
Man, I just had such a from the Father idea. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, this car is from the Father. It's weird, bro.
Everything that's good, I'm just gonna say from the Father.
Yeah, I looked up Greek definitions of love because I've heard them before, but I didn't remember what they were. But there was some person talking about how the Greeks have 3 words for love, which is agape, which is like 4.
So.
Yeah,
Is
there's
it
4.
4?
Yeah,
Yeah,
4.
four.
Yeah.
Now that I look at what I actually looked up, yeah, there's
Come on,
4.
bro. You got Google right there.
Yeah, there's agape, eros, phileo or philea, and storge.
Right.
Rob's like, I'm well educated in this.
I know that.
Yeah, let me
I
actually
actually
click on this.
haven't
But
done
yeah,
my research on
those definitions, they were saying how at Calvary, that's when like every single definition of love is used at the same time. Is love from agape is God's love for people, deific love.
Yeah, unconditional.
Yeah. And then eros is the like normal definition of love for the culture, the sort of lustful type of love. And then phileo or philea, philea, it looks like, is like friendship. So like brotherly love, sisterly love, sibling type of thing, I think. At least that's what this is saying. And storge is like parental affection, love for children, love for spouses, stuff like that. I guess not love for spouses, but like that kind of thing. And
that's
you can
more
see,
eros.
Yeah, it is. But you can see all of those definitions, except maybe eros.
Have the word love in them. I'm kidding.
All those definitions are present when Jesus died.
Yeah.
Is you can see God's love for people. You can see his parental love by sacrificing for his children. And you can see his friendship love and wanting a relationship with us.
You know what's crazy, man? I was actually thinking about this over the summer. I had one of the greatest, I don't even want to say prayer. It was a conversation I had like while I was praying.
I remember
with
you.
God.
I remember seeing that. It was
Bro, it was
really
most,
early in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was the most epic moment I've ever had as far as like communicating with God.
It was dope.
But what I was talking about during that prayer was love. Like, it's crazy. So we Google like, oh, let me look up Greek perspective on love. You know what I mean?
Right.
What's the Greek words? The thing is, like, we think that because it's Greek, it was well educated, there was a lot of study gone into that. It's like maybe that's what love is. Like, it's these 4 things, but it's like love. Like what we know about love is merely a description.
Yeah.
The definition of love is merely a description. It's not the definition. It's you can't, like, God is love. To actually understand love, like unconditional love, you have to have a relationship with God, and only He can provide that love. So it's like we look for, and that's with a lot of things. That's with peace. That's with love. That's with, like, everything that God is. We have merely a description of how to define that word. But we honestly can't understand what it means truly until we actually encounter that with like from God. Because like we look at love and like there's some what we think is negative aspects to it too. Like when we're hurt or something, like, oh, well, God, why'd you do this to me? Da, da, da. But it's like you don't know everything. God knows everything, and down the road something's gonna become greater from this. Yeah, and that's out of love. So we look at it in that moment and we're like, oh, this isn't out of love. So I think love, what we know or what we have written down about it, is merely just a description. So it's crazy for me. That's something I've been trying to like wrap my mind around, which I can't because it's God.
Yeah.
That goes off kind of like how what AJ explained today, our pastor at Divine Unity this morning. He was saying that at times, there are many times in his life, and I can relate to it too, where I try to hold on to this thing, you know, this thing that I believe is giving me, you know, satisfaction, and I want it. And the moment somebody tries to take it from me, or God himself tries to take it from me, I'm like, nah, like I want to hold on to this, because, you know, this is your gift from me. God, you gave this to me. Why would you take it away from me right now? But we have to just trust, and we have to learn how to trust, because you can't understand love, especially from the Father, if we can't understand what trust is. Because trust is something that love and trust have to exist at the same time. Yeah. You can't trust somebody without loving. Yeah. And you can't love without trust. So in my life, I have to trust God with many different areas of my life: my finances, my sexuality, my school, my purpose. Everything I have to give to him. And it's going to take sacrifice. But I know that my Father in heaven, the one who I have a relationship with, the one who created me, like, what makes me think that if he can provide for the lilies in the field, if he can provide for the birds in the trees every single day, what makes me think that, you know, he won't provide for me and give me even greater things and blessings? You know, he sent his son to die for us on the cross, his one and only son. He didn't have to do that, but he wanted to, because of his love. Heaven went bankrupt for all of us, so that Jesus was like doing this for even just the potential to have a relationship with us, not knowing that most people won't ever come to him. But it's like, through the power of the Holy Spirit and through the people that have been redeemed, the people that have had their eyes opened, that now are just possessed by this amazing force to then spread that love to the rest of the world, so that people could come to understanding of who their Creator is, what he did for them, and what they are really truly alive for, you know? Yeah. So it's incredible.
Yeah, the whole mind thing that he was talking about in the service reminded me of Finding Nemo, with the seagulls flying around. Mine.
We actually, there's actually someone made because he made a reference to his son in that, Asa, and Asa is his son, and he made a reference to, like, when you try to take something from him, Asa says mine. So somebody had a picture of Asa, and in our group chat they made a they made a meme of him, and it's just a picture of him, and it says mine.
Wow, that's funny.
It cracked me up.
Yeah, but it's a good group of people there. I really enjoy going there.
Duck?
Yeah, Duck.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, man. Like, something I experienced, which is, like, really crazy to think about, is everyone doesn't have that opportunity. Like, to have that...
That's right.
I would call it a family. To have that family, that community around them. Like, when I went to camp over the summer, me and Rob were at a Christian athletic camp, SB2 Dub.
You heard me.
That's right. That's the call and response. So we were at that camp. We experienced the same thing we experience here, as far as, like, having that accountability, that fellowship, that community of just family, really, or what a spiritual family should look like. But it was crazy to hear people's opinion of, like, man, I wish I had this back home. Like, this is crazy. I want to stay here forever. And it's like, we have this back home.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have a very similar to what this is here. Like, that's in a cutoff community, like, in the middle of nowhere, Rector, Pennsylvania. It sounds like it's a small town.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just, like, crazy to think, like, we take a lot of things for granted until we see a different perspective, and we're like, oh snap, like, not everyone has this. I think it's really crazy. And that's one thing I've been trying to I've said the word perspective like a few times just being here, but that's, like, something like that I'm trying to learn right now, is just like perspective on things is very important. So when I'm in an argument or when I'm thinking about something, I want to hear perspective.
Yeah.
That's something that was kind of instilled in me over my few months at camp.
Yeah, the thing I really enjoy about perspective is when you have a perspective of thing. I really like things, by the way. See, English is the goodest.
Wow.
That's good. That's good.
But and thinking about perspective, I like science, so I like to think about, okay, perspective is how you see things, and everybody's eyes, scientifically at least, see things a little bit differently. Like, for example, the green that you see in a stoplight could be a different shade of green to other people. Not exactly colorblind people, just other people see it darker or lighter shade of green. And we all know it's green, but everyone sees things a little bit differently. And you can... That's a scientific fact. You also see that when approaching like a group project at school. You see how one person goes, oh, we should do this, and another person goes, oh, we should do this. But you can see how they both are viewing the same thing and getting something different out of it. And that's the way I think God wants to use people, is that he's given them... Having sight is a good thing. So having sight is from God because it's a good thing.
Yes.
We
can agree.
That's so from the Father.
It is. Sight is from the Father.
From the Father.
But you can see how he wants your perspective on things to be related to his perspective on things. So what he wants in the relationship is he wants that level of empathy where you can see sort of what God is seeing, in a sense. Not in the omnipotent, like, sees all, knows all type thing, but in the, you can see that, there's a car wreck, that means something bad is happening. That means God loves those people. That means I should help the people with the car wreck because God loves the people and I'm supposed to be loving people for God. And that kind of a thing where that thought process doesn't happen all the time. Because you can get really caught up in just, I'm going to work, I'm going to school, or things like that. And so you don't have that split-second thing of, what is that person going through?
Right.
Because you can see, even like at the airport especially, you can see people on their phones having distressed calls about losing tickets and stuff like that. And you can see that God cares about those people. How can I care about those people too? And that kind of a thing, because that really is, when you're in a relationship, you want to learn what the other person likes and what the other person dislikes, so you know to avoid and do those things with that person. And when you're in a relationship with God, it's the same thing. Only instead of reading your boyfriend or girlfriend, he gave you a book that literally spells out what he wants. So it's a lot easier. And he even takes you through the book sometimes. He goes, these are the things that I'm pointing out to you to learn. And it's still work, but it's a lot easier than people think it is. If you have the right mindset towards it. Then again, you have to know the mindset.
It's not a book. That's my bread.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, and... to just go off of that, I feel like there's this disconnect, and when you mentioned being in an airport, it's like, man, as a man of God, as a Christian, in my perspective, I'm like, yo, all these people have an eternity, and I might be chilling for like 2 hours, sitting down, when I could like easily. Just go.
That's Rob the evangelist, bro. I already know what you're gonna say. You want to go get on the loudspeaker and
nah.
Bullhorn. Hey,
if God told me to do that, I would. Hopefully.
Boldness.
But like,
he'd provide a loudspeaker for you.
But you don't even have to be an evangelist for real.
Yeah,
like you just go up to somebody literally and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to love you right now and just listen and hear your story.
Yeah.
Imagine the relationships you could build with that, especially with social media now. I actually met somebody on a plane, and this was 2 summers ago, and he was sitting next to me the entire flight. I was reading my Bible, and I was like, Lord, just give me an opportunity to maybe like share something with this kid. He was my age, and I think it was toward the middle of the flight. He was like, hey man, you reading the Bible? I was like, yeah. And I was just like, man, you know Jesus? He's like, man, I love Jesus. And so we just started having an awesome conversation.
I never heard that story. That's crazy.
Yeah, and when the flight was going, when we were about to land, I was like, hey man, would you just like join me in a prayer right now? Like let's just pray for the people on this plane, pray for whatever in life, and just like we were just praying for each other, right? And so we actually connected on social media on Facebook, and he pops up in my newsfeed sometimes, and I think that he's actually he's going to get married soon. Or he might just have a girlfriend, I think. I don't know. But it's just cool to see that. And just the people you meet, because you never know who you would run into, who you would meet. I know one guy who actually met his now fiance at an airport, and she lived across the world, and that's incredible. That's all God right there.
Yeah.
But it just starts at the end of our comfort zone. And man, like let's just put the phone down, put down the technology, and go be human. Go talk to somebody, because everybody's a human, you know. Like
and starting a conversation is if you've listened to any of the other episodes of the podcast, starting a conversation is not that hard. Mm-hmm. Especially if you watch the other episodes where that's basically all that we're struggling with, especially the first episode was, what are we talking about? But you can really look at just other people having conversations. Conversations you have with people you know are vastly different from people you don't know, but the same principles apply, where you're talking about things you have in common. Mm-hmm. And you can overhear a lot of stuff that people don't think you can hear. Mm-hmm. Back to airports.
Zach's eavesdropping. Uh-oh.
I'm not. They're talking loudly.
Come on, bro. What are you doing, man?
But I was at an airport, and these people were talking about, like, I was just sitting in my chair. I was looking at my phone, even. And these people were just talking about, like, all this relationship stuff going on, and I was going, this is an airport. I mean, I know you're talking to each other, but I could chime in on this conversation really easily, and I know a lot about you already.
Not to intrude.
Not to intrude, but...
Say that again? What was that?
Excuse me.
That's exactly how I imagine that.
But, I mean, you can even, especially meeting new people, even if just like a couple seconds of conversation, you can find some stuff that you can agree on. Oh, yeah. And you know the classic, how about that weather type thing?
Oh, wow.
Still works to start a conversation.
Bro, I am, that is so funny.
That's hilarious. Why is that funny, Rob? I want to hear why that's
this
funny.
One story, real quick.
Oh, dear.
I was sitting on the quad at Jamie.
I
was sitting on the quad at Jamie. And, like, somebody, like, just randomly sat down the other side of the bench. And I was, like, reading my Bible. Like, why am I always reading my Bible?
Yeah, he's always reading his Bible.
I know, Jesus. Like, I love him.
Man, so safe.
But it was just, like, this girl that sat there. Mm-hmm. And, this don't get in your mind. Whatever.
I'm just so
I was like,
here's the thing about me and Rob before he continues. We have this relationship of building off each other, so you guys are gonna have to excuse my comments.
Yeah,
let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So basically, I was just like, I lifted my head up. I'm like, man, like it'd be cool to like invite this chick out to like Bible study, because like I love people and I want people to know Jesus. Yeah. So I was just like, So the weather is pretty nice out today. And she was like, yeah, and then it was like. Yeah, so
how about the Redskins?
Right, so yeah. But then it just like it fed off. We were feeding off of that, just that simple statement.
Oh, so it didn't just end there?
No, it didn't just end there.
I was imagining conversations go completely. I was imagining like bye,
see ya, and I like stumble and like trip over my feet.
Classic TV show conversation.
Oh my gosh, I love being like awkward. It's hilarious.
Well, and this is the thing I've found in conversations is conversations are not awkward until someone makes it awkward.
Yeah.
I love
Like, you don't feel awkward until someone does something to make you feel awkward.
I know, but it's like hilarious because you like are laughing so hard in your mind, but
Yeah.
you can't do it physically.
I think you've been in so many uncomfortable situations that it's like
oh my gosh,
normal for you.
Yeah.
it is. You get like this
I
rush,
sense
used
it, bro.
to
I
it.
sense
you
it
get like
around
this
you.
rush of adrenaline. It's like it's almost an addiction.
Bro, I sense that. Like, I literally will be
I
like,
don't do skydiving.
we'll be
I
hanging
do
out.
awkward conversations.
Wow.
oh my goodness. Yeah, that's what he does for the rush. He does it for the rush.
Uh,
But I'll literally be with him, and he'll be like someone will just make a comment, and I'll just look at him, and like it's just like you're just like, like you're about to explode, and like I can't make eye contact with you because you just bust out.
Oh man.
Oh, my
Laughter
goodness.
breaks the ice in so many
Oh, I
different
know. It's
situations.
hilarious, bro. Laughter itself is like really funny. It makes you laugh.
Yeah, you laugh at people laughing. Yeah, but it's really interesting when you actually get to know people, just like strangers and stuff like that. But I would encourage people listening to this that when you're with people, even if you don't know them, break the ice. People have icebreaker games. I don't find that you need them, but yeah, just how about that weather, things like that. Just
Conversation.
go into a conversation with a goal in mind, but don't necessarily be militantly strict to that goal. Just talk to people, get to know people, because everyone has opinions, and everyone's opinion is important.
with it.
Yeah, you could also, just a little side note real quick, you could end in, you could begin a conversation, say, hey, spell silk. Then they'll be like, SILK, and then you'd be like, what do cows drink? And then they're gonna be like, water. Or no, they're gonna be like, milk. And then you say, no, I messed up.
See, Rob made it awkward. Here we go.
Well, that worked. Bye.
Wow.
End on an awkward note.